as introverts, we're not necessarily shy. We do thrive on kind of the more company of ourselves and being a little more introspective. And that's okay. And that is awesome. So, right now, I work with introverts, and how I kind of came across that is because I took a very honest look at who I have worked with over the years and I have realized, wow, most of my clients are introverts.
Welcome to the Radiant Mom Rising, the podcast that's all about celebrating and empowering the incredible, hardworking mothers out there. I'm your host, Mary Dibble. I'm on a mission to equip you with the tools, strategies, and inspiration you need to conquer the challenges of motherhood and life, all while embracing your radiant self. Join us each week for amazing guest interviews, relatable stories, and a whole lot of fun. We're here to create a vibrant, supportive community where we can be our authentic selves, where no one feels alone, and where we uplift and cheer each other on along this incredible journey of motherhood. So, fellow Radiant Moms, get ready to rise, shine, and conquer the world. Let's grow together, laugh together, and make every week a celebration of the powerful, radiant moms we are. This is Radiant Mom Rising, and you're part of a community where your brilliance shines through. Are you ready to rise with us? Let's get started. Today, my guest, Caroline Elisabeth, is a remarkable certified life and health coach who specializes in supporting introverted entrepreneurs. Through her personalized process, she helps clients craft a vision that aligns with their introverted nature, rediscover joy in their work, and leverage their natural strengths. This empowerment enables them to build sustainable and profitable businesses while avoiding overwhelm and burnout. In today's episode, we delve into the world of introverted entrepreneurship, exploring how the qualities often associated with introversion can be a remarkable advantage in the business arena. Join us as we uncover the hidden superpowers of introverts and learn how embracing these traits can lead to extraordinary success in the entrepreneurial landscape. Hope you enjoy. Today, I have an awesome guest with me, Miss Caroline Elisabeth. She is a life certified coach who helps introverts. Thank you so much for joining me, Caroline. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing so well today.
I'm so excited. I love what we were just talking about and just getting to know you. I love to have the listeners know a little bit more about you and your experience as an introvert yourself, and your journey that led you to end up turning around and helping others.
Oh my gosh, my journey is very long. An introvert. I honestly wish I came across this term many, many years ago because I have always been somebody who was less outspoken, depending on the situation, of course. Like, give me a glass of wine and I'm a little more outspoken. But I really enjoy my alone time. And I just really do love kind of having the company of few as opposed to many. And I wish I had come across this whole kind of term introvert community. I don't love labels, but at the same time, I really do appreciate knowing that, as introverts, we're not necessarily shy. We do thrive on kind of the more company of ourselves and being a little more introspective. And that's okay. And that is awesome. So, right now, I work with introverts, and how I kind of came across that is because I took a very honest look at who I have worked with over the years and I have realized, wow, most of my clients are introverts. And the best work I have done with my clients is really helping them tap into their personal strengths and really realize, where those personal strengths can lead them and can help them succeed with their goals in terms of their career, their health, their personal relationships, and their businesses. So I think I can totally go on a tangent of how I got here. What would you like to know first? Like,
Oh yeah,
what?
sure. No, you share as far as what you're talking about. Like you
Okay.
said that you didn't even realize there was a term of introvert. So like what were
No.
you like in your past before you kind of recognized, I know you said you enjoyed
kind of being to yourself, things like that. So what was it like when you finally came to that realization that, oh, I guess I'm an introvert? Like, was that like?
Okay, so what I learned, I think what a lot of my clients, so right now I do coach. I am a certified life coach and certified health coach, and but I help introverted entrepreneurs. So they are women who have businesses, and a lot of my clients have come from the corporate or 9 to 5. So they've had to shed that employee mindset in order to find success as kind of come into their own. And so to kind of go back to your question of how I came to that, I realized when I was in corporate, I came from a corporate and a 9 to 5 and an employee background myself. I realized then that sitting around the meeting table and just not being the loudest person, I wasn't getting as ahead as maybe some of my coworkers were. I was in communications, I was in PR and marketing, and that can be a challenge for an introverted person who isn't somebody who is going to be, the loudest person in the room and coming with all the ideas at the table. That being said, I was the person who would email and have all of my thoughts emailed out or written out. And at that time, I realized, you know what, I am the more quiet one, but I didn't want to, label it as anything. I didn't know if I was reserved or what, but I knew that I was just the person who really enjoyed working on herself, or working on her by herself most. And that led me to writing. That led me to a career in freelance writing. So I actually left a position that I wasn't very content with and pursued my freelance writing career, and that felt like the place that felt like where I was honing my personal strengths alone, doing the research, having meetings. I do love people. But I do, and I think that's a misconception with introverts as well. We do love people. We are social, but sometimes our personal strengths are kind of put into an area or kind of suppressed, I guess, and not allowed to get out there and shine as it should. So I really did feel like when I pursued a career in writing, that's where it was. And that led me to realizing, hey, working for myself is really, really something that I wanted to do. And I know you work with moms, and I'm a mom of a 13-year-old and 8-year-old right now. And even before I had my first son, I knew I wanted to be in a position to be with my children, not ask for permission to pick them up if they're sick, or to have that flexibility that I knew I would want someday. So I kind of knew all these things. I knew that I enjoyed time on my own. I knew that I wanted to have my personal space and not be in a meeting room filled with people all the time, or having to be out there at events, which I also did in my past life. And so I just kind of knew all these things about myself already without realizing it, if that makes sense. And so then that just, my career as a self-employed woman just kind of started to snowball from there. So freelance writing to marketing consultant to having this consultancy where I could really thrive on my own behind my computer, but also come out for air and meet other people as well. So I did kind of find that healthy balance for myself. And for myself, that was really, really important and really inspiring for me. Like I was like, wow, I can't believe I've come from, this side of being in the corporate environment to now working for myself. And I really understand why I want to be here. I want to forge this balance, this life balance. And that led me to just doing more and more work. And I mean, I started in the coaching industry in 2016 actually. I hired my first business coach as a marketing consultant, and she introduced me to what coaching was, what the concept was of working one on one with somebody and really diving into their thoughts and their thought processes, and helping them really see, like shining a mirror to them and helping them see, okay, this is what I truly want. And so I started helping my clients with their marketing as a coach. And then I realized how I got to be a certified life and health coach is I realized I want to help even on a deeper level. I want to really get, people to understand that their energy levels really count towards their success and that they can really lessen their anxiety through certain tools that I use like breath work and meditation. And so that's kind of, this is a roundabout explanation of where kind of I've come from, but I started as a certified life coach and health coach, and then realized, wow, introverts are kind of just the the clients that I'm attracting, and this makes total sense based on where I've come, how my journey has brought me to where I am today, and it's just been such a natural process. And yeah, and I work primarily with women, although I have worked with some really great introverted men as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. It really does boil down to energy levels for me, honestly. If there's some, an energy that really fits. And I think that's also why introverts are, I think, like our personalities just click. Like we
You go
have that
together.
understanding. And I think that makes the coaching relationship that much more powerful.
Yeah. And this is part of like why for anyone out there who's in a coaching or has been a coach, you understand that they've always like talk about the niche and finding that right type of client for you. And this is what life experience is all about for us because we don't always even know like who we are meant to help until we really take a step at looking at ourselves. Well, that's kind of what led me to hardworking moms, for instance. I had to step back and be like, who do I resonate the most with? And who am I? And I've always been a hardworking mom. I like since I was 20 and I've been through the ins and outs of all the different types, like many different types of jobs and just feeling that burden of having to ask to, oh, I have to go pick up my child because they're sick, or, are you going to get in trouble because you're missing work because you have to stay out because you have the doctor's appointments, or maybe missing out on field trips. Oh, that used to break my heart. Was
Oh,
missing out on field trips with my son because I had to work. And when you especially out at the time I was in banking, they don't have too much of a flexibility for you
right.
to be there when they need you. So, it's so wonderful. I love to see women like you who make that decision to walk away from that corporate life because that's such a hard place for so many. So
Mhm.
many are in that place right now that they are very unfulfilled, not very happy with their jobs. But a big part of that mentality and the mindset that keeps them there is that fear of like, well, I need the money. I got to pay my
Mhm.
bills. So if there's someone out there right now who's listening who is in that place, what kind of advice would you share with them to encourage them to realize there's still a chance for things to be different for them?
Absolutely. Okay. So with my advice, honestly, would be not to just quit and run, right? So I have seen that advice out there. It doesn't sit well with me at all. Sometimes you do have to do, quote unquote, the unsexy work, right? Before you can actually, take that work that you truly want to do and run with it. When I started, before I started writing, I was writing on the side. I would come home from my job every single day and I would be on my computer. I remember sitting on the floor at my coffee table and writing for this company. It's no longer, it was called Office Arrow at the time, but it was an office resource, and I would write article after article for this company, and I absolutely loved it. I realized, hey, I'm making money doing this, and so I found other clients before I quit my job. So my advice is to definitely have that stability and savings before you do move forward, because the last thing you want is to kind of leave something that doesn't make you happy in order to find something that you do, but without kind of that net behind you. I know it sounds so unromantic and so, whatever, but this is real world advice that I want to just hit home, is to make sure that you are already kind of on that journey, on the path towards where you'd like to go. Yeah.
Completely agree. I'm the same way. I was fortunate to have a job at home, but it was still very time consuming. It was a lot, it took a lot of me, but what I did is anytime that I was caught up, whatever, you're right. I did the same thing. Just listen, or I plug in while I'm doing my work and listen to a course and learn what I could and just got through things and just did a little bit here by here. And I feel like there's such a powerful message in that. I get it. One of the things that we always like to say is we're so busy, we're so busy, we're so busy. But when you really break things down and take a look at stuff, you make so much time, or we tend to prioritize things so differently than we should sometimes.
Right.
And I think that's what it is taking a step and looking at it and be like making a decision to be a little disciplined and being like, okay, from this time to this time, if this is all the time I have, I'm going to dedicate it to doing work towards my business and things like that. And that makes a huge difference because I see that too. I see women who have just walked away completely and then they end up, having that pressure of like, I have to make this work. And so that energy, like you say, that energy only causes more resistance for them getting that success because they become so that pressure and that nervousness, like, oh my God, if this doesn't work, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. And so that is a great advice, actually, and a very realistic thing for so many of you, depending on your situation, because sometimes there's people out there who get laid off and then you're put in a position that maybe, and I feel like that there's actually a great silver lining to that for some people, if that is what happens for you, because maybe that's the universe's way of like pushing you in a way that you wouldn't normally take. You know what I mean? So be like, okay, now you really need to go out there and do something for yourself. And that's when you come find people like me and Caroline who will help you along the way, get you started and get you going, because we understand we've been there and that's what we want to do. We want to give back, share with you what we've learned, help you to scale and grow your own business because it's beautiful to be in a place where you get to really work for yourself, have that flexibility for your kids, especially as a mom. You don't have to miss out on all the great stuff that's going on in their lives and then have that regret of, oh, I didn't get to go on this field trip or I didn't get to be part of this or, it's wonderful. Yeah. So now during this time when you were doing that extra writing and stuff on the side, were you a mom then?
I wasn't a mom then, but what I will say, I was newly married. So I wasn't a mom. And this is taking me far back now. But I do know that, and I have taken this advice I'm going to give a few times throughout my career, is that when you want to do something, so if you want to leave your full-time job and pursue a business, if you want to kind of pursue a different career and a different business, I think it's great to just allow yourself to flow into, like, you don't have to find that perfect, as I'll term it, like Hollywood business right away. Like, you're not going to be, you don't have to be like stepping into something that is automatically going to be the be all and end all of what you want it to look like right away. So when I was kind of going through, oh, I want to write for people, I want to turn that into a living, I wasn't pursuing projects that were going to be kind of something that would launch me into the spotlight and profits right away. It was more like me tiptoeing and kind of understanding how the industry worked, what it would look like for me to be a freelance writer, and then throughout the career, what would that look like to offer marketing services and social media services and then coaching. I mean, this is kind of how I've always kind of tiptoed. And I really like the saying that small hinges swing big doors, right? I love that because it's so true. Like, you don't have to leap. There is no need to have to take these big leaps, leave your job to, pursue that next huge career. That's just an example, but to kind of just feel it out and see how you really feel before moving forward. Get a little bit of opportunity, have a little bit of experience, and that's okay. And really check in with yourself. Does this feel good? Is this a yes or a no with me? Like, really start to tune in with, what is kind of giving you energy and not. This is a big thing that I teach my clients because it really is what is going to be, if something is kind of taking away your energy or you're not feeling it, you're not going to develop the discipline and the commitment to stick with it. So, yeah. So back to that first, no, I wasn't a mom right away, but as I became a mom, yeah, no, I just mean like that just, really taught me so many lessons along the way as both a mom and an entrepreneur, that it doesn't have to be this whole big thing. It can just be like, let's see how this does, or how I do with this, and let's see where this leads me. Right?
Yeah, and there's and then one thing that is awesome, if you really look at what you've done, there's so many cool things that you've learned, different areas that you can easily take into something bigger, like in your main coaching. Like, you know what I mean? Like where you have the writing skills, then you had the marketing skills, and now you got the coaching skills. So you can really help teach somebody how to, to really understand themselves. So it's like that's what's cool about having those experiences and experimenting with all sorts of different programs and different, ways to go about things. I think that there's also such great resources now for you to make passive income sometimes that can utilize more skills within you while also helping you make something on the side that you can use it towards your business that you want to create. But that's the point. It's like you're getting out there and taking these steps and just learning and trying to and figuring it out for yourself as well. And it's so wonderful having that support and that help from a good community of people who want to see you succeed too.
Oh,
And I think that's such an important part of the process. It's like so many feel like they have to figure it out on their own. I mean, you shouldn't.
mhm.
I know I wouldn't be able to be where I am without the coaches and without the help that I got. So, I'm grateful for
I
that.
I know. And just speaking of that, just with introverts, I find us introverts, we're introspective, right? Like we've got so much happening within our brains and minds. And sometimes it is a little more difficult to get it out and share that with the world because so much is internal. So I love what you say about community and just surrounding yourself and learning the skill of asking for support because it really can be a skill for some where others may find it super easy to ask for help. But I do find when we're kind of something is so close to our heart and there's that kind of that internal dialogue and sharing that with the world can feel really daunting. And even if it's a small group, I have been in that position before where I've joined a group and then I have to share this. Like, is this idea good enough? And then second guessing. But then when you get used to and develop the skill of sharing and embracing a community, it can make the world of difference with your goals, with your success, with your confidence. So much so.
Attention, hardworking moms. Are you ready to kickstart your journey to a thriving online business? Introducing Learn and Earn Profits Online Max, a groundbreaking digital resale course that's revolutionizing success. Learn how to create your own funnel and sell this exact course, pocketing a whopping 100% of the profits. Yes, you heard that right, 100% yours. Lipo Max is an enhanced platform packed with incredible modules and valuable insights designed to elevate your online business game. Don't miss this chance to join a supportive community where hard work meets exceptional opportunities. Say goodbye to the hassle of creating courses from scratch. Lipo Max does the heavy lifting for you, empowering you to learn and earn in an environment tailored for your success. Act fast and secure your spot in this game-changing program and set yourself up for a prosperous life. Join the Lipo Max community today. Click on the link in the show notes to learn more or contact me today with any questions.
It is. It's so true. I think for me, like putting myself out there was one of the scariest things in the beginning. And then like I'll never forget, they're like, do it messy. Just get out there and do it. And that's a huge, awesome advice right there.
Yeah.
Anyone can take. Go and do it messy because you know what? You will figure it out and you'll get better next day. You'll get more comfortable. You'll get a better flow eventually and you get great feedback. It's so awesome. But it's just getting that out past that initial, because I was like that too. I would double, quadruple, overthink about what I'm trying to say, or, I would hold back or redelete it because I'm like,
Yeah.
I was so worried about what other people would think because, we do live in a world today where there's a lot of criticism, unfortunately, than there is, support and encouragement. But
Mhm.
I have come to also realize like how untrue that is at the same time, because I have seen the amazing support, the amazing encouragement from such incredible women because I made that decision to get out there and put myself out there, that I feel like when you have that right energy, when you have that intention of attracting like-minded people of what you're trying to accomplish, you will start attracting amazing women who and people who are going to support you and uplift you, and you don't have to worry so much about that whole feeling like people are going to judge you or criticize you, and not hold back.
Yeah. And I mean, when you do something like that for yourself, you are then giving permission to somebody else to do the same.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, you're like, it's so funny because if you think about it, like back in school, right? Being in a classroom and the teacher would be talking, and there's a question you want to ask, but you would be so afraid. How
Oh,
many of you out there would be just so afraid to hold your hand up? And all you could do is hope that somebody would ask that question for you. So it's like, be that person, be the one who asks the question, because there's a guarantee so many other people who want to know the answer to that
oh, for
very
sure.
question, right? But yet, look at us
Exactly.
though. It's like even from when we were younger, it's almost like conditioned in us to be that fear of like, well, am I going to get picked on or so
Yes.
it is.
And did you find I found motherhood to be such, such a kind of a catalyst to learning how to feel confident with speaking up, right? So when I first became a mom, I was terrified. I remember putting one of those little backpack things on my little toddler with it was like a little tether on it. 'Cause I didn't want him running off into the crowds at a crowded mall. And I remember
Yeah.
these few women saw this and stood there and shook their head. And immediately I took off this backpack and it was shaped like a little monkey, like it was so adorable. And
Thing.
yeah, and there's absolutely nothing. If I had a toddler right now, I would do it again and not take any notice. But that to me was kind of the first, oh my gosh, one of the first. There were a few before that, but one of the first, like, I'm not invisible. People are seeing me, people are watching me. And yes, and people are judging. And so as kind of time has gone on, I don't care. Yeah, I've had to kind of yell at my kids at the playground. I've had to be I was part of kind of mom groups and just now I am just very comfortable with the way I parent and my relationship I have with my kids. But just looking back, that was kind of that wow, I am now out there. I'm out there and people are going to be judging my actions and similar with entrepreneurship, like you are out there and oh my gosh, people are going to be judging what I'm saying or what I'm putting out there, my opinions. But as time goes on, like you start to really build on that confidence and build on your ability to have a voice because we all are allowed to have a voice and we all are allowed to share. So I think once you kind of sometimes we have to go through the uncomfortableness and the low self-esteem part of the journey, and that's okay, and know that this is just the beginning and you will start building onto that and you will start to find your voice and your place. It all starts with doing though and being in I've heard the term staying in the room. Stay in the room.
I like that. I've not heard that before. I like that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, because it's like that present, being present with yourself, being present with the moments and things like that. And, I have to say, I feel that's such an important thing you were talking about with as a first time mom, especially. I think
Yeah.
for so many first time moms, we all feel that way. I
Yep.
was the same way with the whole leash thing, but where I looked at it was like, I couldn't imagine because, toddlers,
Ah,
they'll just take I have especially now that I have 2 of them. Oh, no. It's even it's even more like because like, one goes
oh,
in
they're
that
gonna get
direction, the other one
us.
goes in that direction. It's like, I'm not go and I'm not been in a place yet to have to use that, but, I mean, still, they have that tendency, and I could never forgive myself if I turned away for a second and then turn around and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Or they
Yeah.
I when I was
Exactly.
younger as a kid, I'll never forget a little girl that I knew in my neighborhood who literally ran off out of fear into the road and got hit and killed by a
Oh
car.
my
And so it's
god.
like People like want to sow that judgment on people, but it's like, though, that's not to sit there and treat your kid like they're an animal. It's truly
Exactly.
to just protect them. But you're right.
Same.
There is always that judgment. And especially as a first time mom, just like in the beginning stages of an entrepreneurship, you're always going to have that. Well, I don't really have this figured out quite yet. So you have that tendency to look outward and kind of
Right.
go off of everybody else's stuff. But that can be very dangerous sometimes because it keeps you from being true to who you are and listening
Exactly.
and figuring out stuff for yourself and stop following the crowd, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
love it.
yeah, I remember, I mean, somebody else's discomfort shouldn't come over your, well, your kid's safety or your,
Yeah,
desire
exactly.
to
Exactly.
succeed.
Yes, exactly. Because I mean, all it is a projection of their own stuff
Exactly.
being put onto you.
Yeah.
And that's so now for somebody who's listening who may not even realize they're introvert, what would you say would be some, I guess, characteristics of somebody who was an introvert? I would just like to share that with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, if you're an introvert, you love to spend, you get your energy from yourself. So I like to explain it as, introverts really create energy from being more alone, where extroverts really their energy is created with other people. So if you find yourself just, okay, you are at an event with a lot of people and you are extremely tired when you're done. And I mean, which everybody is, right? But this is just kind of like, pay attention to that. And, when you really get home and you have that bath or you're reading the book and you just feel like, okay, a breath of relief and you just feel like, okay, I can now breathe again. That could be a sign you're an introvert. Another sign is the activities that you enjoy the most. I have a very extroverted friend who loves just being in crowds. She would be, the person to join tours. And when I first met her, she had large parties of like 30 women in her kitchen where I'm just like, okay, I would not join a tour. I would just walk on my own. Thank you very much. And my favorite thing to do is having one-on-one conversations. I just, feel a little lost in groups. So that's also kind of a sign of introversion. It doesn't mean you're shy. It doesn't mean that you don't love parties. I love throwing parties, but I also love being the host of parties because I'm an introvert, I believe, because I love just having that one to one. Yeah. As opposed to being a guest. And so the signs are okay. Where I guess the simplest sign is, where are you drawing your energy? Do you feel like you're more energized on your own, doing alone, things on your own or in small groups or one to one? Or do you find that you're most energized when you're with big groups of people, like, being around people and, the lights and sounds and all that. So I think those would be the biggest indications.
Right. And so if somebody as an introvert wanted to start becoming an entrepreneur themselves, what would be a good piece of advice? Because a lot of times I feel like with somebody who probably thinks that they're introverted would be even more afraid to put themselves out there or even think, how can I go out there and do lives on Facebook? What kind of advice would you give them or inspiration you would bring to the table for them as an introvert yourself?
Oh, for sure. So one of the biggest pieces of advice I give is to shed the shoulds. I like to talk about this a lot because there's so much advice out there. When you start a business, you should do lives. When you start a business, you should market yourself and network and go to all the networking events that you can think of. And so I want to let other introverts know that you don't have to market yourself the way other people say you should market yourself. There are so many different ways you can market yourself. I don't love going to big networking events in person, so I won't. I'll join small groups of people. I will have one to one coffee chats. That's how I really love to network. I love writing. So I'm writing for my local newspaper right now. I'll write blog posts. You don't have to get up there and be a public speaker. If you are not comfortable with doing live video, that's okay. That's okay. There are different ways that you can reach your audience that don't you don't have to do it in the way that you think you should. In other words.
Well, that's awful. Actually, I think that's fantastic advice because you're right. There is a lot of programs and people out there who kind of put that pressure on people to feel like
Oh, for
if
sure.
you do it this way, this way, this way, you'll have success. And then if you don't do it exactly their way, well, no wonder you're not successful. And I don't think that's right because we all have our own unique skill sets, our own uniqueness about us, period, dot, that we have to figure out what works best for us. And that's kind of what I want to represent with my clients that I work with is that it's not about doing it, like you say, this way, this way, this way, this way. And that's the only way to be successful. It's about figuring out what works for you. Like, well,
Yeah,
how can you do this? And if you don't like a certain thing that you want a part of your business, well, how can you delegate that? What can you do to help, find somebody who can help you in that area, things like that. So I think that's so important
exactly. I
to
love that.
understand is that, this is all about figuring out yourself, who you are, and really what does life look like for you? What is your ideal life? Not what you think
Mhm.
it should be, right? I
Yeah,
love that. That's a
yeah,
beautiful, beautiful. I mean, I love it. So,
yeah, yeah.
so tell us a little bit about what it's like, what it looks like to work with you.
So I work with my clients right now one to one. And of course, I work with my clients currently on a 3 month in my 3 month program. And we get together once a week over 12 sessions and we work towards a certain goal and between those sessions email each other like I'm very yes, I am here for you throughout this whole entire 3 month process. We're building a relationship and we're really diving deep into well, sometimes why a certain goal hasn't been achieved yet. And sometimes it's what is this goal that I want to create? I know I want to feel a certain way in my life and in my business. And I know I'm not feeling that way right now. So how can I get myself to a point where I feel really good? So sometimes it can be super vague. And sometimes it can be really, this is exactly what I want to do. I also need some strategy. So it's really tailored to the individual, but it really does boil down to guiding my clients to really dig in and understand what their personal strengths are, how to harness those personal strengths, how to apply them to their business and also to their life. And then also yeah, the tools and information to help them avoid overwhelm and burnout. So we'll often create a routine for them that works for them so that they're not burning out with the shoulds. So they're shedding those shoulds. But yeah, so I currently work for 3 months and then my clients can renew as they wish. I am developing a program which will be a shorter, kind of more like a one-off session. I haven't launched it yet, but just to get a taste of what it's like to work together as well. But yeah,
Oh, who knows? By the time this show episode airs, it has launched at
right.
that point. We'll make sure that we share it with the listeners and I'll update them and we can
I
even share,
appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. And so right now, if somebody wanted to find you, where could they find you?
I am active on Facebook and I am active on Instagram. So my Facebook is I'm active on my personal profile, honestly. If you are interested in following me on there, you can follow me or send me a friend request. It's Caroline Elizabeth. I think it's Caroline Elizabeth Hello. And then Instagram, it's I am Caroline Elizabeth. You can also find me on my website, buildyourbrilliance.com.
Brilliant. I love it. That's a great, awesome. And we'll make sure to share all that, of course, in the show notes so people can just go and click and follow you because I think you're an amazing person for anybody out there who is an introvert that really needs that extra one-on-one support to get them where they need to be. Caroline's the woman who gets with. So thank you
I
so
appreciate
much.
it.
Of
Thank you so
course.
much.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm so excited for you and your journey. I can't wait to hear what else you create and things like that down the line. And before we end here, is there anything else you'd like to say to the listeners?
I just really appreciate just connecting with you, another, other women who are helping other women and moms. And I just thank you. I think, the more we can motivate other people to have their voice too and share what they actually want to achieve and share their message and their vision, I think it just helps more and more people to do the same. So I just really appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate being here and sharing your voice and doing exactly that. Because you're right. We want to give you all permission to feel like your voice matters, you matter, your life matters. So make it what you want. It's possible. There's so many women like me in Carolina who are out here to support you and love you and help you on that journey. You don't have to go through it alone. And it is okay to speak up.
Yes,
No matter where you are, what you've been through, it is okay to speak up. And sometimes it's the most powerful thing you can do for yourself and others.
absolutely.
So again, thank you so much for being part of my show. I really appreciate you being here with me today.
Thank you, Mary.
Here are some key takeaways from today's episode. Introverts thrive on their own or in small groups, drawing energy from solitude rather than large social gatherings. Recognizing this preference helps in aligning work styles and finding comfort in your own way of functioning. Introverts aren't limited by their preference for solitude. Instead, it's about capitalizing on their strengths like deep introspection and focused work. It's okay to work differently. It's about leveraging these traits to your advantage. Entrepreneurship doesn't demand a one-size-fits-all approach. As an introvert, there's no need to conform to extroverted marketing methods. Explore and find ways to market and network that suit your comfort level, like writing, one-on-one meetings, or smaller group interactions. Building confidence and comfort in public interactions takes time. Start with small steps to gradually ease into more extensive interactions. Don't succumb to external pressures that dictate how you should market or present yourself. Authenticity is key. Embrace what feels natural and aligned with your strengths rather than forcing methods that don't resonate with you. Entrepreneurship is a journey of self-discovery. Embrace the learning process and allow yourself the time to explore different avenues before settling into what feels right for you. Seeking guidance and being part of a supportive community can make a huge difference. Connect with like-minded individuals who understand and support your journey, providing encouragement and guidance when needed. Overcoming discomfort and fears, whether in parenting, entrepreneurship, or any aspect of life, is part of the growth process. It's about taking those initial steps and staying true to your path despite challenges or judgment from others. Remember, success in entrepreneurship isn't restricted to one particular personality type. Embrace your introverted nature, leverage your strengths, and find ways that align with your comfort level to thrive in your entrepreneurial journey. You can follow Caroline on Instagram at I am Caroline Elisabeth, and be sure to download a free energy assessment to help supercharge productivity using the link provided in the show notes. Lastly, subscribe to my show and leave me a review. Your feedback is much appreciated. If you want my support on your journey towards creating a life you desire, then visit me at marydibblecoaching.com or contact me on social media to learn more about my offers and programs and how I can help you find the results you are longing for. Let us radiant moms continue to rise and enjoy life to the fullest. And until next time, much love.